Hello everybody, it's Kirsty. You know me. I solve crimes and mysteries, missing persons and all sorts of things using astrology. Now, I know I have a few other things that I said I was going to put up first, but these things just keep happening where I just want to stay on top of it. When a person goes missing or a child goes missing, it's the best thing to do astrologically like this is do it as soon as you can. So today we're going to have a look at little Sebastian Castro. He's 3 years old. He walked away from the Eagle Apartments in Colorado on the 5th of June 2020 this year at 9:15. Well, 9:20, but we're going with 9:15 for the chart. So because he is 3 years old, we're going to focus a lot on the moon. As always, if you've watched my other videos, you'll know that that's what we do. The moon represents it's the co-ruler of a victim in this situation, in this event, and especially in children under the age of 5. Sebastian was a non-verbal autistic boy, so the search for him is difficult because they can't actually call out his name because he'll be scared, and he prefers just noises, and the whole search thing is very, very delicate for Sebastian, and of course he's only 3 years old. Now, sadly, they actually have found some belongings of his already in a river, which is a terrible thing to hear. I just found that out a little while ago. But still, let's have a look at the chart, let's have a look at the map and see what we can see. So here's the chart on the inside. Now on the outside this time in red, and down here, I will zoom in and move it up. These are Sebastian's natal planets in red around the outside, and these are the planets at the time that he went missing. Now, I wanted to look at both of them because, well, I don't often do that, but also it's actually really quite indicative of what I think has happened, and I hope hasn't, but I think has. Ignoring the red at the moment, let me just grab a pen again. Little Sebastian is represented by this area, as always, the Ascendant, which is at 26 degrees of Sagittarius, which is right there. So 26 degrees of Sagittarius. Now the ruler, as always with Sagittarius, is Jupiter, and it is also at 26 degrees. So Sebastian is represented by Sagittarius at 26 degrees and Jupiter, the ruler, which is also at 26 degrees. Because of that, I have utilized that as mileage as well. 0.26 miles and 2.6 miles, which I think is just too far. Okay, so that's the Ascendant, that's Sebastian, and that's what represents him, so Jupiter, right here. Now, the tightest aspects that Jupiter are making, now I've lowered the orbs down to 20%, so they're really low. These, I can't take the lines off completely because I really would like to see them. But what I do see is Sebastian's Uranus, which is this one right here. When we look down here, we look for Uranus, which is there. Over here, we can see it is at 24 degrees of Aries. Now, if I put a red line from there, whoops, to there, which is actually what this line is doing. Just move this over. This is a square. It's a 90-degree angle between Jupiter and Uranus, his own Uranus. And that sits in the 4th house of the end of the matter. So it shows us that he suddenly ran out of his house. The 4th house here is our home. So he very quickly ran out of the home, and as the square between them is extremely challenging for him. Now, obviously you have to always look over here to see that, because unfortunately they don't put the degrees next to the red ones on the outside. So it'd be a lot easier if we could see the degrees and we would see what matches. But anyway, so this shows me that because he is in the 1st house here, so that is his home. He's ran out of his home, close by though, and then suddenly, whoop, over here to Uranus, he's left the home and gotten into a situation that's unexpected and not good. Uranus gives us sudden, unexpected situations. So when we come back out and have a look at the rest of it, there's a couple of things that I don't like here. First of all, we have Sebastian's natal Neptune. We'll find out the degrees at 11 degrees of Pisces, conjunct the 3rd house and conjunct Mars. And then Neptune is also conjunct Mars up here as well. So we have a double whammy of Neptune, which is water, in Pisces, and Mars. Now, another thing is the end of the matter is Aries. This one here, Aries. I don't know why it's doing arrows. And Aries is always ruled by Mars. So the end of the matter, we need to look to this Mars. Now the 3rd house, which is what this house is the neighborhood. So fairly close by, still within the neighborhood. So that's the first thing, is you're looking still in the neighborhood. Unfortunately, Mars is in the water sign of Pisces and is conjunct Neptune, which is Poseidon, and his Neptune as well. So it's not good in that respect. And considering they have found articles of clothing and other things in the river, this does actually show us that. But there's a few other things that I can see as well. Now, I've got to move on a bit quickly here. So Saturn, okay, it represents our physical body. So if you're looking for a physical body, you look to Saturn. Now, when we see this red line opposing it, and then we see the sun, which is Sebastian's sun, opposite Saturn there, that's not a good sign. Not only is it opposing his soul, his true inner self, and then Saturn is just the body, the bag on the outside, and they're opposite each other. They're pulling against each other, which I don't think I need to explain. But not only that, this is the 8th house cusp. The 8th house is the 8th house of death and other things, obviously, and his sun is sitting exactly on the cusp, so that is not good either. So it's forming an exact opposition to Saturn, not good. It's conjunct the 8th house of death, that's not good either. Now, there's a couple of things. The moon, obviously we need to get to the moon. So the moon's here. Now the moon is sitting in the 12th house. It's this one here. So the 12th house. And the 12th house is hidden places. It's small, tight, hidden places. Now I have heard that Sebastian likes to go into small, confined spaces. So my hope is that he has managed to go into a small, confined space near the river, but not in the river. We've got Sagittarius here. It's more like trees. Now, another thing that is hopeful is the Ascendant is actually the galactic center. It's a very powerful, positive center. And the moon at 20 degrees of Sagittarius is a very fortunate position. The fact that the ruler, Jupiter here, is also at 26 degrees in this first house is also positive. So for the first time in a long time, we've got a lot of negatives, but also a fair few positives as well. So I'm not sure of the weather at the moment in Colorado, and it's been a fair few days, and unless he's managed to confine himself into a hole that's kept him warm and then drank water from the river, the chances of him being alive are slim. But I have to say that I hold a little bit of hope with all this Jupiter that I'm seeing here. Like I said, I don't like seeing his sun right at the door of the 8th house of death. That's definitely not good. And I don't like it opposing Saturn, which is death and also the physical body. And Saturn is also retrograde next to Jupiter, which is Sebastian himself. So, you know, there are these negatives. I'm not going to say that. Like I said as well, Aries here and Mars. Now, if you have a look here at the fixed star, this is from my book. Unbelievably, the meaning of Mars is at 16 degrees of Pisces, is the mouth of the river. So I don't know Eagle River, and I don't know how many mouths rivers have or how it works like that, but you can't deny that that is what it is. So the mouth of the river needs to be looked at. Okay, what else in the chart before we have a look at the map? Nothing else really. I mean, the event chart itself, there is a fair bit of planetary activity going on in the 6th house of health. Just looking at aspects here. Okay, Venus, which is a simulation of food, is squaring his Neptune. Okay, Venus squaring Neptune, these two, shows that there's no food being eaten. There's no assimilation of food, which would make absolute sense, obviously. So health-wise, it's just no food assimilation. But there absolutely could be water intake. I don't know how advanced Sebastian is in survival, you know. I mean, everybody has their own thing when it comes to survival, even children. So let's just hope and pray that he's okay. But let's move along and have a look at the map. Here we have the map. Now, I know it can be confusing to look at straight away, so this is just the basic map here. Now, this is 0.26 miles, this is 2.6 miles. Now, I just can't see that he's walked that far, but obviously we can't take out of account the river. But anyway, let's zoom in. Go back to here. So these are the villas that he was at. Here's the playground that he was seen at, apparently. Now, the river is right across the road there. Very, very close. So that's not good at all, obviously. Now, the lines I've put here are the Jupiter line, the Saturn line, because Jupiter represents him, and Saturn is the physical body, and the IC, the end of the matter, and then the most important line is the moon, and this is the moon line. So that's 20 degrees of Sagittarius. Okay, so initially, with all the lines pointing upwards like this, I was like, my goodness, maybe he's actually gone up. But now that they've found some things in the river, it just doesn't seem right. I think, again, we're looking at the moon is representative of this little boy, as it always is with children. So that's what we're going to use. The moon line follows the river. Now, I do believe, look, I'm no topographer or river specialist, but by looking at this here, it seems like this river runs this way. So this way. I may be wrong, but because Scribble Maps is a little different as well, it's not, north is north, so it could actually be running the other way, but I don't think so. Anyway, so I think it's running that way. That's just from what I know, because I don't know America, don't know rivers and etc. So the moon line crosses at this bridge point, Ebby Creek Road. So I would definitely be looking under there, but I would assume that they have. There's housing, if he's managed to get, I don't know, past the river or whatever, or even in here, there's housing, so someone should have seen him. But I do have to say, though, that the line goes along here, and this bit right here drew my attention as well. So not only where it crossed, but also wherever this is, it looks like a train track under here or along here. Now, I'm not sure where the items of clothing were found. Maybe they were found in that area. Sometimes the astrology shows us where evidence gets found. Now, that goes all the way down here and crosses at the last point around Shum Ditch, across from this factory, mine site, something, I don't know what it is, drilling. If we go all the way out, it goes up to the mountains there. So I just don't think we're going out that far anyway. I think we need to get back to here. And if the river's taken him, then there must be pockets where they would be looking, hopefully. And if not, and if there are little pockets in the trees where there's crevices under the ground, like where he could hide, they need to look in all those as well, obviously. And they know that. And everybody knows that, if we know the case. The other thing, okay, as you'll see in the chart, the end of the matter, the resting place, is in Aries. So Aries is generally a high area. So it's slightly confusing. There's a lot of hills around here. These are hills or mountains, big mountains, and every little bit of area here is raised. So to me it's like he's actually gone up and then back down again. And because Mars and Neptune are together in that third house there, this bit, Mars, Neptune in Pisces, that's underneath there. Pisces looks like that. It's two fish connected. So it's like he's managed to go up a hill, not a giant one. He hasn't climbed a mountain or anything. But he's left home and gone up and then down, because Aries is the very top and Pisces is the very bottom. So they need to look where there's a hill, where it goes up and then down. And because Neptune is right there next to that Mars, the resting place, perhaps it's just the stuff that he had with him that went. He himself didn't go into the river. That's my hope. But is near enough the river where he could drink out of it. So I'm praying and hoping so much that that's the case. Like I said, there's a dichotomy of bad and good in this chart. I don't feel as though he's been taken by anybody. I don't think his family's done anything to him. There's nothing to indicate that. We have Gemini on the DC, so any public enemy is Gemini, and Mercury, and that's Mercury doesn't always just represent people and two people and young people like I always talk about, but it also represents young boys, so, and moving within the neighbourhood, moving within the area, perhaps even thinking that he's going to go and find his friend, or find something fun that he wanted to do. That's what this Mercury here makes me think of. So even though, we've always got a DC point, which is usually a suspect in cases, I just don't see, I don't think two people have taken him. If they have, then wow, then that means they've taken him straight from his front garden, and then it is two people. But I don't think so. Nothing else really backs that up to me. This opposition, like I said, between the 8th house and first house and 7th house, but right on the cusp there, this shows me that something's come unbalanced between him and what he has ventured out to do. Sagittarius and Jupiter are also adventurous. It's the sign of adventure, so he's gone out looking for something for fun, and it wasn't a good time because he's been flanked by Pluto, there's Jupiter, and Saturn, two malefic planets, Pluto and Saturn. And because they're making this square to the resting place, it's not great. But like I said, I have hope, or I always have hope, and let's just hope that the evidence was the only thing that they found, and they find him crouched up in a little hole. Okay, take care everybody. See you again soon. Bye.